Yo, 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 what's good? Welcome to the Hometeam podcast. You got me, Eve, my boy JD's to the left, and my boy Sam is to the bottom. This is the 19th of March,
Bottom bitch.
2023. Holler at us. Like and subscribe immediately because of our beautiful faces. That's
No.
all you need. Now, today we're going to talk about what is a man, the manosphere space on the internet, and the crisis facing manliness, supposedly, in America. We're going to start off with some Pew data that my boy Sam is going to talk about. So let's just get right to it, man. You guys want something?
Whoa.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, pause. Is anyone hearing something weird on Eve's mic? Like, it seems like choppy to me.
Is it?
I don't hear any choppiness.
Okay. Maybe it's just my end.
But I do want to say, fun fact I learned this week.
Yeah.
Young Blood as a last name is last name, first of all, because I saw it when I was watching March Madness.
What?
By a young African-American male, and I made some assumptions, which John completely checked me. Young Blood originated in Holland. There's Holland people with a Young Blood last name, and then there's also German people. Young Blues.
No way.
Young Blues.
You move. Yeah, man.
Wild. Mind blown.
There's a defensive tackle with the last name Youngblood that played for Ohio State. That's the only reason I was like, wait, no, it's a legit one. Like, it's the only guy I've ever seen with it before, but so we looked it up, and there's some famous people with it.
Yes. So my top name for my firstborn is Youngblood Samuel.
It's
Youngblood
the it's a surname, not a first name.
It's in consideration. That's all I want to say.
all right.
If I'm allowed,
other than it's an
officially
accepted name, it will be his name.
If I'm allowed by my future wife. Now let's get into this manosphere thing about being allowed, but should a man make the decision? All of that fun jazz that people really make a living off of talking about. But before we get into the Pew data, I would like to get you guys' definition of what being a man is, or in general. And I don't mean like gender roles, pronouns, and stuff like that. I just mean like the role of being a man to you.
Oh man, that's a tricky one because I think it's a lot cultural. Like different regions, different
to you.
societies.
No, I didn't say all of that. I'm saying it just to you, Heber.
To me,
in the culture that you grew up in, the life and environments, being in American born, living in a foreign country, coming to America, and then going back to a foreign country. In your life of 32 years of being a young blood, what is your definition?
Oh, that's a tricky because I never really thought about that. I've always thought of myself like individually, but I guess when I think of it, like what comes in my mind first is sticking to your principles is what makes a man, like sticking to your word, like word is bond type of thing. But at the same time, like there's expectations in my culture, at least with what a man is. For example, if you're my mom, for example, comes from a different culture than my dad, right? So my mom is Bajau, is an indigenous people in Malaysia, and traditionally speaking, like the eldest male in your siblings, you're basically like the second father, right? So you're also have that role of taking care of everybody younger than you. And of course, in the family unit, they would be responsible for the family safety first and foremost, and providing. It's very traditional in that sense. Of course, in Pakistan, and I wish Saeed was here as well. But basically, it's like culturally, it's also similar where the man sort of makes decisions for the family. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying like as being brought up in these cultures, like those are the expectations put on men, right? So that's sort of what I would think about. And even if you want, like for me, like even if I want to be more progressive, for example, and be like, okay, of course, if I'm if I had a wife, like me and my wife, or like me and my girlfriend, of course we want to be equal in decision making and all of that. But in the back of my mind, I know that at the end of the day, like her safety is upon me, for example, right? So like that pressure is there, like, because it's not just how we're expected to behave in our family, but like every in our whole community, in our culture, and our extended families see that responsibilities as being predominantly a male responsibility, right? So I guess that's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And to kind of piggyback off that, I think the protector role, like that's the first thing that comes to mind to me, right? My role is to protect, right? To make sure that family's safe, make sure that the physical safety and everything is top priority, right? Obviously, like traditionally, the provider aspect is definitely there as well, right? I think that the world's changed a lot over the last like 50 or 60 years, so it's not as much. But personally, I still see it as that's our role as well, right? Provider, protector, like, head coach. I don't know, man. Maybe that's a sexist way to look at it, but I think that like there has to be, like we were talking about, just like leadership, right? There has to be some type of leadership, and it's not saying that it like has to fall on us, but should, like when I think of it, that's what I think of, right? Like I think that's traditionally our role. Now I'm not saying that doing it a different way wouldn't work or anything like that, but that's what I view. Like that's how I view my role.
Yeah.
I like that. Since I'm the moderate, I identify as the moderate conservative here, and you guys talk about it as being one moderate liberal and one off the map leftist. So it's here and that. Just our simple background. Of course, I'm joking. All of us will probably be moderate, left or right, though, based on the situation. On that, that's the honest opinion. For me, kind of similar with what you guys said. When I was thinking about the question and hearing the response, the first thing that comes to my mind about being a man, being a father, it's just that's the first thing in terms of being a father to a kid, in terms of that role and how you shape somebody else's life, and the female from your perspective, and the wife shares that perspective too. That's the first thing that comes in, provider, protector. But then I'm like, what about being a man? Because I'm single and I'm not married. What does it mean to me in that dichotomy in the world? Am I not still a man? And then in that case, being a single and a man, I'm not protecting anybody. I'm not whatever. So what does a man mean to me? And that's the part I really don't have a hard control on or a definition for. Now, even in you guys said too, you're talking about it based on a relationship situation, protecting somebody or being responsible for the safety of somebody, like you guys said. But as an individual, what would you say that? And then it's not, and I'm not talking about sex or whatever about it. And I don't mean masculine and being aggressive at the same time, and I don't mean feminine, because there's situations all about that require you to be more, to have more finesse in terms of the real world. You know what I'm saying? You just require that. But Jordan Peter did say this. So when you're having a conversation with another man, it shouldn't be this way, but like in terms of that, especially with a stranger, somebody you haven't talked about, there's an underlying fact that if things go left, like very, 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 very left in the conversation, hands might need to be brought up. You know what I'm saying? And and that's what he says, in the back of your mind, and that's true. But I would like to think, where I am in life and being a Christian, I would like to think before it even gets to that level, I'll walk away. You know what I'm saying? But if it's something to do with my sister and my mom or something like that, and we're in life or death situation, I feel like that's a completely different situation. You know what I'm saying? It pressed. But I mean, that's the same situation with a female, though, I would have to say too. If pressed, and she would have to act, though. You know what I'm saying? In terms of life or death, that's the end of it. But yeah, so I don't really have an answer for a single man into the role. I just know that I would just define it as being a good Christian man. That's the way I would just define it as. But then it's like, what is a good Christian man? I'm just like, read the Bible. And somebody who reads the Bible, who's devoted to God and who loves everybody as I would love myself. So that's what I would define. That could be defined as a man or a woman, whatever. But without that other part of the relationship, that's how I define as an individual. I wouldn't define it as man and women as an individual because we have all, and we all have that, in my belief, and it's an innate requirement to love one another as you love yourself. That's like, love God first and then love one another as you love yourself. So that's man and woman, and that's the way I would identify. But in a relationship situation, I would have to agree with all of what you guys said, when it's that role, protector, provider, and stuff like that. It's hard for me to not take that, and coming from where I came from. But that's my take.
I just, before we move on, just a little bit something anecdotal, like, because I mean, my girlfriend, she's 5'2", 100 pounds, right? So she's not big, she's a small person, right, relatively. And it's like, you do have this thing where if you're going out, right, say me and her are out at night, wherever we go out, Friday night or whatever, okay, and you do like have to think of like, okay, if shit happens, right, like you're the guy who has to sort of protect, like if anything happens, like I get like some like like you're walking down an alleyway, it's a hypothetical situation, and like you have to be alert. Like you can't just walk around like you're walking by yourself, like, because it's, even though it's like it seems sexist, it's not though, because you love this person, right? So you do that, and I'm sure women do that too, right? But like at the end of the day, like you're the bigger person physically, so it's like that's sort of like an added thing that I think all men sort of go through, just be like inherently, I don't know, that's just something to throw out
there. Yeah, you got to stay vigilant, man. You got to stay vigilant.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Sure, you go ahead.
So, I've been asked this a couple of times, was in terms of dating, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how it always leads to this question, maybe the way I present myself, but then they'll say, what if she wears some type of stuff? And it's a big topic. Would you say don't wear it? Not because it looks bad or anything, but like the way I'll answer. In my mind, like and I've seen a lot of people answer it this way. It's like, you wear that, yeah, and it's of course respecting for me, and you're dating me. Of course, that's part of that. The big thing is like, you're gonna draw. I know how guys are. You're gonna draw these kind of attention. I don't want to put myself to where I'm going to have to react.
Yeah, sure.
For a situation.
Luckily, I haven't been in that situation. Like my girlfriend doesn't dress in any way that's provocative or anything. Like usually. So that is an interesting thing though. Like, what if she did, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's how I answer it too. Like, if I wouldn't want to be in a place where I tell you what to wear, whatever. In terms of dating somebody who did that, and I look at, so that's what you're going on with? Okay, cool. And I just don't say anything. You know what I'm saying? And in my mind, I already know how it's going to go down. But I've slowly, in that relationship, at least, like, after being in a club and having some altercation, I was like, well, I just need to not go to the clubs anymore because I already know right. how I'm going to react. And then it came down to, well, why am I still in this relationship? And well, we're not in a relationship anymore. That's just the way it is. So I don't want to even date somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't think it's personally. I don't like. I've never had that conversation. Shit, I don't think I attract the type of energy. Like, I don't think I'd be surprised, like going out, like, oh shit, like that's not what I would have expected. Like, I just don't. never really ended up in that situation. I mean, it could be possible, but like,
Yeah.
I haven't had to deal with that. I mean, I don't think I don't think it's my role to be telling you like what you should be wearing and shit. But if I'm starting to have questions about that, then I'll have to ask myself like, is this really what I'm trying to be?
Right, that's true. Yeah,
like if you're making that decision, like then chances are like this ain't gonna work anyway. Like we don't even need to fight about that shit because like we're viewing things differently. Like because and maybe this is just my perspective, but I feel like if you're going out to the club, if your girl's going out to the club dressed like that with you, like maybe she's like trying, maybe that is her intention, like. Maybe she's like not happy and trying to, advertise for the next guy or whatever the deal is, man. But I don't fuck with that energy.
Yeah, I agree.
But she's just trying to do what makes her comfortable and confident.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I've never did like
Yeah, just like
hey, chill out, bro. Just stop body shaming.
Not body shaming.
Not body shaming. I think it's like this. I don't think like I would be attracted to that, right? So I don't think that relationship would go very far anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Visually, we're all men. Visually, you'd be attracted.
No, like you're gonna be thinking of it. You might talk to her for a little bit, but like you wake up in the morning, you're like, personality-wise, are we a match? Like,
exactly. That's when you're younger, you make change your. I was different. That's what I'm saying. I was attracted to it. Obviously, that's why I went in.
I mean, I think a lot of guys' relationships are based off different head thinking. Like that's just
exactly. But then you get older, and I was a little bit older in this relationship. Like I just didn't want to go out anymore in general.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And she did. You know what I'm saying? So just the whole lifestyle and space that you're in changes. And I was like, well, that's cool and it looks good. But I just don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm attracted to it for a short time. That's not going to last for me in a longer time. And remember I sent you that verse too, John, in terms of Proverbs 31, and I think it's 3, could be 5, where it says, charm is deceptive, beauty doesn't last, but women who fears the Lord will be praised upon high in terms of that. So that's honestly the way I look at it.
You guys know how my religion thinks about women and covering up.
Yeah, but Proverbs is the same thing though too. Proverbs is in the Quran at the end of the day too.
Well, yes, it's a lot of shared values. It's Judeo-Christian values.
In terms of
also, okay. I feel like maybe never mind.
Go ahead.
But I'm just love hearing this conservative talk. You know what I'm saying?
It's not conservative talk.
It is conservative. It is.
We're
not saying they shouldn't do it. Like, but does it mean I don't have to?
I'm talking about the whole. I'm talking about the whole dialogue that we've had for about 15 minutes.
I wouldn't say it's conservative.
Comment in the chat if Eve's a converted conservative right now or not. That's all I
if you want to vote, okay.
Social conservative, economic liberal. Anyway, all right. Let's get at this data.
I feel like we should draw congratulations to the.
No, I'm joking. That was a joke. That was a joke.
I was about to say we're just gonna let that one slide.
No.
Oh,
Nobody said anything.
I totally missed what happened.
All right. So basically, the data says, right, that where is it? There's a lot. Where is the one here? Is it this one?
Explain the Pew data and the value of the Pew data.
Yeah, I didn't look it from this source, but basically, what I remember is
no. What the Pew Research Center is in terms of credibility.
I have no idea how to answer that, to be honest.
John?
Yeah, Pew is it's actually my homepage. It's like one of I try to look for unbiased, which is difficult this day and age because everyone's got some type of angle. But it is regarded as like a pretty
objective,
pretty middle of the road. Yeah, quantitative basis, not so much subjective opinion. Much on all the sides.
Yeah.
Right.
in terms of polling
Yeah,
goes.
Pew Research is not just polling. They do a lot of different types of research. Politics being one of them in terms of their information. Obviously, this is not politics related, but he was like the gold standard in terms of research, in terms of just raw research. They don't usually publish papers in terms of, you know what I'm saying, for the reason of publishing papers. They'll just say, here's the data, here's what we found. It's up to you to interpret it. It's all they say in terms of their research. So a lot of people use that information and then extrapolate based on the data. But their data is and how they get data. It's not like, oh, small samples. They're very thorough on how they get data. And I've like, if you're getting a if somebody says, oh, it's Pew Research, they'll be like, oh, you got some good data.
Yeah. I didn't want to say anything because I'm
academic
not sure
world.
the methodology, like how they do it, but I believe you guys, and I know that Pew is reliable for the most part. So I couldn't really. There's a lot of statistics on the page, but I just want to highlight this one on the. I'll just read it out. Pew Research Center found 30% of U.S. adults are neither married, living with a partner, nor engaged in a committed relationship. Nearly half of all young adults are single. 34% of women are single, and a whopping 63% of men are single. And this is 18 to 29-year-olds, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I go back to this one.
It defined, I think it was 18 to 29 also, but it had the date on it, if I remember correctly. I mean, how they defined.
Yeah, right here, among men, 18 to 29, 51.
Yeah.
And among women, 32%. So almost double 18 to 29-year-old men are.
And is this self-reported?
I'm not. That's why I said I'm not sure about this methodology, but this is the Pew Research Center data. So,
but if you go back to the Hill, there's also one thing to note on right underneath the second article is that surprisingly, this stands at a 30-year low in terms of that. Around 30% of young men reported in 2019 have had no sex in the last year also, at the same time. So that's a lot of people in the manosphere. The manosphere is just the whole topic of just man. It's just, it's the way I look at the manosphere. It's the opposite side or of the coin to feminism. That's the way I look at manosphere. Anyway, they use that data a lot in terms of the anyone who's under 30 the last year who has not had it, compared to 20% of young women. That one is not as big significant to me in terms of 30 and 20%. That's 1 out of 3, 1 out of 5. Statistically, it's a big difference. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a wild to me compared to the young singles in terms of that. That's go ahead.
As far as data collection, it does say that it was a self-survey, so it was self-reported data conducted from October 16th to the 28th, 2019. The only reason that I bring that up is that there may be a difference between, there might be some gender difference between what they consider
definition of what single is, basically.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like how many.
Okay, I have a take on this too. I have a take
question first, John. Did you see the total number of data pool in terms of, is it 100 people, 2,000 people? You know what I'm saying?
It's got to be more than 100 for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that
you can't plot it.
They won't.
Yeah, like this without sample sizes.
I just want to know. Just do F-prime sample size, and then you should.
It's not saying it on here.
I had all of this on my notes and my.
Well, my thing is like, do you guys think this is a social issue or another issue? I tend to think, if you guys don't mind, I give my thought. That this is an economic issue, also, like, because I think right now, like, the economy, we know that the wealth gap, for example, is getting more and more bigger between the rich and poor, and also, with student loans and the job market being how it is, less and less men are established in their 20s, right? Let's just be real. Like a lot of people don't get into the career they want to get into until in their late 20s or early 30s now today. It's not like how it used to be. And also I think let's look at the upper range of this. Like for example, anecdotal evidence like me, like my mom and my dad, 5 year age difference. Me and my girlfriend, 5 year age difference, right? And technically, right, my girlfriend would still be in the 18 to 29 category, whereas I would not be, right? So she would say she is non-single, but I wouldn't even fit into the 18 to 29 category, right?
Yeah.
So, and we know typically, so socioculturally, like women usually date older men. Okay, so I think that skews the data a little bit, and also because I think like this is a lot of economic issues here going on. Um, it's harder for men, I think, to even get into relationships if they don't feel like they're established. Like I sort of felt that way. Definitely when I was in college, I felt that way, right? That okay, even if I had a girlfriend, like like for long term, like what would we do? I'm broke, you know. So like, and I don't even know where I'm gonna be. Am I gonna live in East Lansing? Am I gonna go back to Malaysia? Like, there's a lot of uncertainties there. So I don't completely buy that this is just like a social problem. Like I mean
No,
I
I mean,
yeah yeah
I was just gonna say, I agree. I think with the advent of like the internet, right? Obviously,
Whoa,
it's
whoa,
not.
whoa, whoa.
Sorry.
oh, you want to see it?
No,
Okay,
Eve,
okay, okay,
one thing before you get rid of that, and not let you go, John.
okay.
Just so to point out, just look at the 65 plus per male
Yeah,
who are single. 21%. You see that?
21. Yeah.
Look at the female now.
Okay.
Now go ahead, John. I just wanted to point that out in terms of that.
Ah, all right,
And then
sure.
I'll let John finish
Okay.
his thought. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I don't.
We don't need to go back to it.
Um, um, oh, we were talking about it. He was talking about how it's slightly an economic issue, right? But like, and I agree with that. If you look at like basically the world pre-internet and pre-dating internet, before apps, Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, all that type of stuff, like people were geographically restricted, right? Like you could, there's a lot of times you see relationships where there weren't, the matches weren't exactly equivalent, right? You might have like there might be, so many people in a town, right? And like so, with the advent of the internet and people moving around so much, like, and with the income gap you have, like, I think it's, maybe this is just my opinion, but in my experience, women don't date down, right? Like you don't see women dating broke men, right? Like a guy who doesn't give a fuck how much money a girl's got. She could be a waitress, like he could have all the money in the world. That's not his guiding light, right? But women don't date down, right? Meaning that like they're always dating up, and therefore that pool of men that are in that top 10 bracket, right, are gonna be running through the dating pool. I mean, like look at Deshaun Watson, right? He got in trouble. I mean, I've never seen, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like the the dispersion is going to be different. Like if you have the money to fly out these IG models and stuff, chances are you're going to be, doing numbers, right? Like, and I think finances do make an impact. Like, I don't think that it's an end all be all, and I don't think anything like that. I think that we are going to see that. And also, like, relationships, right? You have all these apps where it's like, okay, you know, find somebody to hang out with this weekend, but then I can spend the rest of the rest of next week, like doing what I need to do, handling my business. Like there's a lot less, like you get that physical aspect without the emotional ties and stuff and some of those other obligations. And like, so I guess like another question to ask is like, as society, have we shifted there as far as priorities? Like, because in my experience, a lot of times up until you're like 30, it's like, oh, I'm just fucking around. No matter what. Like you be 27, like, okay, I'm dating this girl. I don't think it's going anywhere. We've been together for a few months or something. Like, but that doesn't necessarily stop you. It's not until it's like, oh, time to like, make a family where you're like, okay, now I'm changing my priorities of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and to say something, Sam, before my JD and Sam, before you go, Sam, like piggybacking off what John said, that women usually date up, and I think that's also that's not a progressive thing. That's a conservative thing. Like the women date up because that's how the family unit or like society since the beginning of time has made it so that the man has to be the provider, right? So if you're a woman and you're making money, you still expect to be provided, and you have to be provided better than I'm providing myself, right? So of course they're gonna date up, and that's not a progressive take. That's actually a conservative take.
I think guys date up too. You know
Yeah, but not as often.
I mean, the
Obviously.
guys are not opposed to dating up, but what I'm saying is like the dating down is not something that they look. You know, like you ever been like, oh man, this girl is perfect, but her family grew up on the wrong side of town. Like never. You know, like
This girl's perfect, but her dad's a billionaire. Fuck.
yeah, I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
I mean, girls don't say that either, too. Like, oh damn.
No, but girls will be
no,
like,
no,
man, he's broke.
no. The first thing
You cannot tell me. Paul, let me answer.
Okay, go ahead.
You cannot tell me if she has bad spending or financial habits, and you would be okay with that.
I'm not talking about the what they're spending money on. I'm talking about the ability to bring money in. You know, like I'm never gonna be like, oh, you work at a job, you make $14 an hour, I can never date you. Like you're not on my level. Like because money is not what I'm expecting from her. You know.
I get that point. Yeah, but like if she's 35 or if she's 32, our age, you know,
31.
or let's say 20, let's say 20, 28, you know what I'm saying? And is at McDonald's and failed out of college and everything, you'll still be cool. You know what I'm saying?
I would ask more myself about ambition than I would money. Like she could be making less money. She could be making $4 less than she's making at McDonald's. If I feel like she's ambitious, I'm cool with it. You know?
Okay, yeah,
but all I want is one thing too. Is one more. I'll let you answer that question too. In terms of that scenario I just painted, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She's bad. She's not bad. You'd be still cool with it if she was bad and not ambitious. She just
bad. You mean good?
I mean, I need intellectual stimulation, right? So it's like I need somebody who's not ambitious because I want them to make money, but I want them to be ambitious because they're trying to strive to be better every day. And that type of mindset is going to challenge me when I say something stupid or something. You know, like we're going to have good conversations. It's difficult to have conversations with someone you don't feel like you can have an intelligence.
I'm not saying about money. I'll let Eva respond before I counter that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say like if the girl's not working a minimum wage job for whatever reason, right? And I think I would think twice if I wasn't established. Which guys in their 20s wouldn't really be established, a lot of them. But if I was in my 30s and I had a career, like I know even if I didn't have a job, I can get a job. You know what I mean? Like that wouldn't matter so much because again, this thinking of the man has to at the end of the day provide. Like at the end of the day, if you love this person and you're compatible, I don't think it's like top 5 priority. If you're established though, if you're established, like if you were already in your job, right, and you're set, basically you're set, and you find this girl you're really in love with, like, and she's in love with you, like, is that gonna matter? If you want to marry her,
if you're not established, to counter what you said, if you're not established, why is it different?
Okay, why is it different when you're not?
I know that like having the structure and the security of having the job and knowing that you could always take care of the family makes it easier, but you can still take that leap of faith even if you're not established.
Yeah, you can, of course,
but you're in love, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can speak for myself. I started.
Why are you saying it like that?
Okay, me and my when I started dating my girlfriend, I didn't have a job, you know, and she was the one driving me to work once I did get a job. Like, so it can happen. Like it happened with me, right? But what I'm saying is, I think generally speaking, guys don't really want to get in relationships when they don't have the money to do it, you know, and that's a choice of the guy.
I agree. But you guys, I just don't want to be generalized saying that because then you'll fall into the whole manosphere lyrics saying that girls only date up and guys are okay. Girls will never date down.
I think that's
guys
a fact.
are okay.
I don't think that's sexist.
Girls will never date down, and guys are willing to date down in terms of that. He just said that technically she dated down for him. You know what I'm saying? But and I can only speak for myself, and I know you guys well enough to know that if there is no ambition, ain't no or something like that, there's no way you guys will be cool. There's just no way you guys will just be cool. And the resume, in terms of what she's doing and what she's done in the past, in terms of not just career wise, but in terms of decisions she just made, leads to that. You know what I'm saying? In terms dating down financially, you guys are still open to it. Dating down in terms of academically, and I'm not saying that she has to go to college, she has to do this. But if you don't have anything that you're really passionate about outside of having kids and marriage, it won't work with me. You know what I'm saying? It just won't work with me because I just know the type of person I am in terms of the family dynamic and stuff like that, where I do need some time to myself to do the work that I need to do. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mind being in a family dynamic, being in a situation where I'm only one at home as a kid. And I'm fortunately in the business I'm in, I have the flexibility to be able to do that when she can do her own thing. But like, there is life after kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that life after kids won't work. And that's all I wanted to say. And do you guys have something to say about this before I talk about that data we just see?
No. Go ahead. No, John.
No, I'm good.
Okay. So we saw that data, under 30 men, significantly high in terms of being single. We also saw that data of over
I knew you were going to
35 women. There's not a lot of topics on that. So over 65 being single in terms of that. And most of the guys, and I would assume that I'm making this assumption that they did the same amount of men above 65 as they did about women above 65. Mm-hmm. They did the same amount of number. Yep. I'm assuming that it is because of the credibility of Pew. That tells me right there what a lot of people have been saying, where you date around a lot, you're going to die single. You date around a lot, you're going to die single. That data just literally says
men are going to die single?
No. I'm just saying, though, if you're always dating, and that's a big jump for me. Don't begin. It could be widows. It could be, you know what I'm saying, where they got a divorce. A lot of that, you know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is that data says at 65, I'm married for men, and I'm 65, I'm single for women. That's a huge flip compared to at under 30, you're single as a man, and more than likely you're in a relationship as a woman in terms of that. That completely flipped in life. I'll finish this in the next. So for the young men out there, it's okay. More than likely you're gonna die
single
with the marriage. So just keep trucking along. Keep trucking along in terms of the young men out there. For the females out there, that's what the data says. You know what I'm saying?
I got a lot of issues with the way we just digested this data. Like, because like if you look at the premise that the genders are almost even, right? And it's not split 50-50, but it is damn near, right? Like it's within, marginal error 1%, right? Then we have to ask ourselves, like, so when you see the numbers where it's like plus 65 men at what was it, 21% single, and women at 49%, right? If we assume that there are, say, like you said, it's matched 1-to-1 for the numbers, right? Then like we need to ask ourselves, not like the story that you're telling doesn't maybe the men that are married are more likely to live to 65 years.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying.
The single men die, right? Or that women tend to have a longer lifespan than men by what I believe it's like
5 years,
3.5, 4 years, right? Yeah. Maybe they live on single after their husbands died, right? Like I just don't want to look at those numbers and be like they're so different.
Definitely,
these old women can't
half of those women, their husbands are dead. That's what's happening.
Also, they are not the subset that created the 18 to 29 that we're looking at. Like you're drawing a slice in time, right? Where the 18 to 29-year-olds right now are acting a certain way. But I guarantee you, if you took the same poll like 40 years ago, the single rates were low, right? Like a lot of people, if you think about our parents' generation, a lot of people were getting married in high school. A lot of people didn't go to college. Like you were married at 20 and you had a kid already. You know, like so. I think that like applying the young data to the old people is maybe not appropriate.
You know, that's why I was just thinking. I think a lot. Like I think it's Occam's razor. The simplest answer is the real answer, which is those the 65 plus women, their husbands are dead. That's what it is. They died of smoking too much, lung cancer, working those field jobs, whatever it is. Heart attack.
Well, pick the right guy. Pick a better guy. Pick a healthier guy. That's the decision they made.
Yeah. I'm not putting blame on anyone. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm saying there's obviously guys that do left.
And okay, fine.
And the average
pick a better
age
guy.
is still above 70.
Yeah, fine. Pick a better guy.
Is above 70.
Pick a better guy, but that's probably why the women's single rate is much lower. They're picking guys that are.
Oh, but
it just hit me. You look at 50 and 64, it's almost identical. Like if you get out the point,
they're not marrying the same age group. They're marrying 5 years older.
Yeah, it just hit me what you meant in terms of that. Yeah, you're right. You are marrying somebody 10 years older than you.
Yeah,
that's a whole different field.
Especially in the 70s, man.
That's a whole different field. I completely forgot. I'm assuming that it's relatively similar, but yeah. So I guess that's also a win for the female. So date older, you will have good years with, you know, and then get life insurance.
That's fucked up.
We just had pause. Let me just say, commercial for life insurance. If you're married, somebody older than you, get life insurance. At 65, you'll be single. And then you would be in your golden age, golden years.
Yeah, get a whole life unless you have some kind of inside knowledge. And then term might be.
Get a whole life, but I mean, and just to wrap up this few data in terms of the young dating, in terms of that. But at the end of the day, though, things are shifting in terms of dating, and social media definitely played a big part, and then that goes straight into the dating apps. That plays a huge part. And like most of our age, I guess we're in between like millennials and the next generation. The next generation too. But anybody after the millennials, they're marrying through an app. You know what I'm saying? Not marrying, but like they're meeting people in terms of that. Before that, it was based on a lot more social settings. Like there's in our lives, you know what I'm saying, that we see and run into, in my real estate business, you're in the academic field as a professor, and you in law school and in insurance, you'll be more than likely connected. And that's how you meet somebody, in terms of somebody in that circle is how you will, based on the social networks that you're in, how you end up, or your family situations. Kind of like how Saeed, shout out, we got a new baby.
Hey, congratulations to his work.
So, yeah, but he met somebody through his work environment in terms of, and that's how he found somebody person. And that's a very dying phenomenon in terms of that. It's mostly based on the app, and that emphasizes the most. That emphasizes the whole social media network that we live in. It's not so much about society or the circles that we're in, because there won't be dating up and dating down in the circles we're in. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much similar. It's based on that. You know what I'm saying? But in the world that we live in now, you have access to a lot more partners, potential partners. You know what I'm saying? Just on your phone, by a swipe right on swipe, you have access to a lot more for guys and for females. You know what I'm saying? So that changes the whole dynamic moving forward, and more data is going to come up like this. We're just at the brink of it. You know what I'm saying? We're just 32, but we've only been dating for, like, if I'm honest, you know what I'm saying, 15 years or less. You know what I'm saying? The new form of dating in terms of apps. That's only just started in terms of that. And there's people have always been hooked in a hookup culture, but that's only been recently been on the steroid run it's been on, you know what I'm saying, recently. That data, I would love to see it 10, 15 years from now, how that data looks, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
going to look significantly more. If this is already the where we're at, it will continuously do the trends that it's in terms of skewing that data. The way I would project in terms of my assumption. So, yeah, especially what you're hearing from the manosphere through the world that we are in terms of the culture, it's going to skew that way more, encouraging men to be more promiscuous in terms of their stories, and the feminists saying, "Don't listen to him, don't listen to him, be more promiscuous than guys." You know what I'm saying? So they're both telling people to be more extremes of each other, which is not going to be more, oh, get married and actually have cohesive relationships. It's not, both sides of it is not encouraging that. The only side that really is encouraging that, the way I see it, it's from religious backgrounds in terms of that. And so the way I see the whole sphere or topic is trying to distance people from that, even though the manosphere says, oh, you want somebody who's more conservative to marry, but keep doing your own thing as a man because you're the man and the provider. So just keep your options open and go around, but marry a conservative woman. But why would a conservative woman marry a guy who is very promiscuous and wants to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
She would want somebody that same values as you at the end of the day. She wouldn't want somebody, I mean, no matter how rich she is, if he doesn't have the same like religious faith and background, she will not go for you. Like, it's just the way I've seen it from the churches I'm in terms of course, she would want somebody who's more financially stable and stuff like that. But if you don't match her on the beliefs and core values of being a religious person and stuff like that and following the faith, she's not going to fold. You know what I'm saying? And for you to think, and that's what that rhetoric is, you want somebody who's like that. Like, they're not going to go for you if you have a history like that or treating women like that and thinking that you want somebody who's just submissive and but that's not going to work. You have to do the work yourself. So that's the way I see it. Well, anything else you guys want to wrap up on and talk about?
Nothing more on this Pew data, I think.
Yeah, I want to, we touched on it a little bit there. A special shout out to the Hater family. Also, Eve, Naya wants to meet you, so you gotta make it back here sometime soon.
God willing, this year.
Met up with them yesterday. We got to meet her for the first time, man. It was
he called me right after you guys left.
Yeah, it was awesome to see people you with, like, become father. Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. It was wild.
He said, "Who's next?"
He's handled a lot better, man. We make a lot of jokes about him being like goofy and stuff. Dude is handling his fucking business as a father, man. So you got to give him that shout out. And
I've never seen his mom so proud in terms of how he's been active.
Oh, really?
In terms of that, I've never seen his mom so proud, and I've never been more proud of him too overall. In terms of that,
that's what I told.
But he did put up. I guess I'll call it a challenge. He said, get y'all baby game up. You know what I'm saying? We need play dates out here.
Wow.
Sam took offense to that. He was like, "This motherfucker." I think definitely. I don't have a baby yet.
That's just like a low blow to me and John, as if we're just being like, we're just gonna keep doing our own thing, like as if we're not trying to be. You know what I'm saying?
But it's that grass is always greener thing, right? Like, he's got a family, a life. He thinks like. He sees us and probably thinks, like, these guys are still doing what we used to do in our 20s. Like, no, it's not like that. No.
Exactly.
It's not like that. Yeah.
I'm just more picky who I spend time with, bro, than I was in my 20s.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, it's just timing,
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Were you hinting towards something there, Eve?
No. I'm hinting like the opposite. Like I have to, like.
Did you get the ring size?
Huh? Oh no,
Did you get a ring size yet?
I'm well, I mean, hopefully sooner than later. But I also want to make sure that my plans for the next few years are set first, So that I mean, like,
You coming to America or
there's
you getting
a
deported?
well, I do plan on making the move at some point, So that's what I'm trying to get in order first, and then also, like, because I see, especially here in Malaysia, man, like I I see what happens when you get married and have kids and you're not ready. There's a lot of problems. Like Saeed is blessed
Yeah.
and he's lucky. Like he found someone perfect, like almost like a perfect match. Same social status, same economic status, and it's good for some people, but and not everybody's like that. You To be
Yeah,
the
don't let your girlfriend see you.
no, no, no. I'm saying no. We want to, but like we're also both like uh trying to figure out, like, do it right, not
And
rush
that's
into
good.
things.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I only got one shot at this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to like, because I've been with her 7 years now. So,
I only got
We
one
got
shot
Ray in
at
the
this.
building.
huh?
Because they were giving Ray crap before, because him and his girl dated for a long time before.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I was just.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did. But so as we wrap it up, I do. If you're a viewer here, we appreciate you. Give us
Yeah.
some potential title names because we need a new title.
I think you
We
know
do have
what.
one new.
Sorry, it's about title. Like I think we do much better with something to work with, like statistics and stuff like that. So I think moving to the future, we should maybe we could focus on like interesting statistics and interpret them and talk about them, because like we
David Dowers.
yeah, data die, like stat bros or whatever. I don't know, like, because like usually when we have videos, we can't. It's hard to talk about videos because our viewers may not watch the same videos, and we can't watch the videos, like we're not reactors. So I don't know, something to think about for next time. Yeah.
I agree, but this is something that goes right along with our next announcement. We do have a content manager now. He's been
Who
in
gave us a
the,
bunch of videos, which I did watch, by the way, and that
watched
which are
one.
good, and those
Oh no,
we
that
we
self-proclaimed
need
president of the manosphere is a joke.
we have, and I don't mean like react to it though, but just some of the insights in terms of basically overriding topics. One of them was just topics on passport bros and stuff like that, which
Passport Bros is good.
in my mind is just somebody, who took an L and decided to try to take an easy dub, you know what I'm saying, in the minor league out there, you know what I'm saying? But I'm a major leagues player, you know what I'm saying? We out here trying to take W's in the major league, minor league championships at the NIT doesn't mean anything. Nobody puts a banner up for an
Man.
NIT
You
championship.
can't think
Yeah,
of
nobody's
relationships
counting
you're a
that
D2
way.
loser.
Natties.
You can't
Like
think of relationships that way.
Bo Ryan has never won a national
No,
championship.
no, 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 no,
Regardless
no,
of what
no.
Wisconsin fans will try to
Well,
tell you.
no, I no, because I might go to Ethiopia and get a wife. That's not what I'm saying. But
Okay.
what I'm saying is for you to call yourself passport bro and say,
Oh yeah.
no, just the whole scheme say it's an L over here and say that women in America and Western, so I'm going over here. That whole ideology is an NIT championship, is what I look at it as. You know what I'm
Taking your
saying?
ball and going home.
If you can make the cut on both levels and you choose to make a difference on that, that's a whole different situation. You know what I'm saying? If you can make a cut on both levels, that's a different situation.
So
Anyway, we have a new content manager.
Wait. Sorry. I think we should wrap. It's only been an hour, but I do want to ask a question before to wrap it all up. So yeah, we do have a new content manager. What were you gonna say, Sam? Before I ask the question.
He might be out here. He's another guy that we've known for 10, 15 years. Humble guy.
Yeah. Hopefully
he'll disclose himself when
he'll when he comes, you'll see him. All right, my final question, because I know we got Sunday. So okay, we saw the statistics. A lot of, at the end of the day, whatever the situation, the reason, right? Economic, social. We have a lot of young men out here. They don't have. They're still single, and a lot of them are actively searching, and they're from, I don't know, bad luck with love, right? Making connections, whatever it is. So what's your advice as someone already in your 30s, early 30s, what would you say to those that are in their late teens or young, early 20s that are just unlucky with love?
Okay, so you're telling the two guys who are single out here, taking another low blow just like Saeed did.
I didn't mean it that way. No,
I
mean, no,
appreciate
I mean that
I'll answer. I know. I'm joking. Let me just answer that question, please. But what I've learned, and I'm still struggling with, and especially last couple of weeks, in terms of that, especially when you're working progressively on yourself, when you're getting into a better result and a better space in your head. And honestly, that's what you have to do to attract somebody who's in the same values and core values. But I have to continuously work on this, but I have to trust God's timing for the perfect situations in terms of that. And sometimes I just want it now, and I feel like I'm ready now than I was before, but I have to trust God's timing on that. That's so anyone younger and stuff like that is just, you have to trust God's timing. And until then, continuously be the definition of man that I have, which is love God and love others as you love yourself, and just keep doing the work to make you a better person or a better disciple, a better friend, a better son. The more you do that, the better things get. Eventually, when the time is right, somebody will come in your life. I say that, I believe that, it just hasn't happened yet for me. The way I would answer it.
Okay.
But it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, of course.
Continuously just
to step out of your shell is hard, always. Yeah. Johnny, you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just be honest with yourself. Figure out exactly what you're looking for in a partner. Figure out what qualities you like, what things you're attracted to, like what is the best fit. Because being 30 now, I look back on a lot of things and I'm like, damn, I wasted some times in relationships for years where like I should have been able to identify the beginning, like it's probably not a good fit for me personally, right? Like, so if I had to give advice to anyone that was younger, that's what I'd say. I'd say just be like more honest with yourself. Have a hard look in the mirror, see exactly what areas you need to improve on, what expectations you have for potential partners, and just trying to. It's difficult to have those honest conversations with yourself and say, like, hey, I'm not doing good enough in this avenue. Like, I'm not working out enough. I'm not doing like. And I think that those honest discussions with yourself they're super important. Sam is on a workout trend,
Getting
60
big.
days.
Catch me in a year.
Hey.
Catch me in a year.
Hell yeah.
It's
by the end of this year.
Okay.
Catch me by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right, so
he's on a hot streak though, dude. Hasn't missed a day at the gym in 60 days, something like that. It's a pretty long, impressive streak. But
right, so
I would say, yeah. I mean, back to before we got the track a little bit. I'll just say, yeah, be honest with yourself. Trying to figure out and have honest conversations with people. Like you could be in a relationship for a while and realize, like, yeah, at the beginning when you're trying to like compromise, that maybe like you say things like, oh, I could be willing to do this, or I want, and then you're knee deep in it, and later on you realize like we're maybe not on agreement on this one. I was trying to meet in the middle. They were trying to, and then after a year, you're like, what? I thought I could compromise, I couldn't, and this has been kind of a waste of time. Like, yeah, I would just say have honest conversations with the people, and just figure out what you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's a big fact. It'll save you a lot of time and wasted effort, relationship, and money.
Figure out what you're looking for before you get into it, for sure. My advice would be, both of you guys gave great advice, by the way. And I guess my advice would be, make sure if you are trying to put yourself out there, make sure your intentions are good. Like, don't get into dating for the sake of wanting a girlfriend. Like, if you're single and you're ready for a girlfriend, put yourself out there, make sure people know that you are looking for a girlfriend. But or starting a relationship. And it's gonna take a few tries. But what I mean is, don't do it for the sake of, oh, I want to have a hot girlfriend, or oh, I want to not miss out because my friends are all dating. Like, if you want to get into it, be genuine about it, and once you find the right person or who you think is the right person, try it out. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Like, don't force it. Like, a lot of people try to force it, and that's what's actually unattractive, right? Don't force it. plenty of fish in the sea. It's okay to be a late bloomer or whatever. Like these are real life serious things, like how you're gonna shape the rest of your life. There's no need to rush it. So don't worry about it. Just take your time, and if you work on yourself, like my friends, my brothers here said, someone will someone will fall in love with you, and you will have a partner. So don't worry about that. Like worry on yourself first. So yeah. Okay. All right. So that's the podcast.
Wrap it up.
All right.
New
That's
name
the
coming
podcast. There's a
soon.
new name coming soon. Like, subscribe.
I
I'll
want
see
you to
you guys.
subscribe. At least like it. Don't
No,
subscribe. At
man.
least like it.
Subscribe. Great content's coming.
No.
Educational.
No. I would prefer you share it.
Yeah,
share it
for
before
sure.
you subscribe.
You know,
I don't
I'm
want
cool
you to
with you guys
subscribe.
doing all the above. I got no
Yeah.
preference in the order.
It's
like
free.
it, you can share it.
No.
It's
I mean,
free.
No.
you can share it, then subscribe, then like it.
What I want you more than anything, though, follow me on Instagram at Midwest Vibes Royalty.
This dude.
The real.
This dude plugging himself. All right, peace.
All right, I'm done.